everybody, along with my bodyguards, Wendy Jones and Ashley Clark. I'm Jason DeBeas, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to agree and we're going to disagree, but at the end of the day, we are undivided. So, anchors away for CNN and anchors away for Fox. Don Lemon of CNN, gone. Tucker Carlson for Fox, gone. And all the same couple of days. It was pretty crazy end of the week going into the weekend. Next thing you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, when the show's being filmed, man, boom, they're just gone. I have two questions, I guess, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's just get started. My first question is, who do you think suffers the bigger loss, CNN for Lemon or Fox for Tucker Carlson? And my second question is, what does this mean for cable news? Because Wendy, remember we were talking about, maybe we'll do the second part first. Wendy, remember we were talking about how like nobody really is interested in watching CNN anymore. No one's really interested in watching MSNBC and most of Fox.
Any news.
Yeah,
really.
With the exception of Tucker Carlson, which was the most viewed show. It was the most viewed show on Fox. They said more Democrats watched Tucker Carlson than they did CNN. That's
that's a scary stat for CNN.
It's insane. Well, maybe they we like train wrecks.
I know.
And he's the biggest train wreck. So, Wendy, I guess I got a question for you because we talked about it before. What does this mean to cable news when Substack, some really good YouTube channels are very, very informative with The Hill, Breaking Points, Jimmy Dore,
well, I
Aaron
think
Mate,
Yeah, you see people stepping out and away from the big advertising. These narratives are being driven by people who are making a whole lot of money, and average Americans are waking up to the concept that we don't get to say what we want to say. And you know what? We can't hold these commentating. Okay, so there used to be a big difference between the nightly news and your hard news anchor behind the desk. Now we're full of shows. All of this is commentary, right? So these are human beings that have garnered enough popularity to rise through the ranks and get people to pay attention to them. They're human. They're going to say things off camera. There's going to be a tweet. There's going to be a text. There's going to be an email. They're people. Okay, so when we're talking about news commentary, maybe I'm getting a little off here from what you asked, but I think people are moving en masse away from cable news because we don't trust it. We know it's being led by big advertising that doesn't have our best interests at heart. And you know what? I'd rather hear from a human. And if we're going to hold people accountable, let's hold them accountable across the board. So maybe the only thing I can say is at least we've got two opposing viewpoints. They're both gone. I think people are fed up. Yeah. And those two guys are going to go out and make a whole bunch of money in this independent media that's rising because nobody in big news corporate news is getting the job done.
Yeah, I think Lemon's done, honestly. I think Tucker, like you said, I think he's the one guy that can kind of like pitch his tent.
Somebody's still going to listen to him.
Something you said about big advertising. Josh, play the clip for me. We basically, one of the reasons why I thought Tucker, the straw that broke the camel's back was this.
Well, here's one measure of their badness. You can try this at home. Ask yourself, is any news organization you know of so corrupt that it's willing to hurt you on behalf of its biggest advertisers? Anyone who do that is obviously Pablo Escobar level corrupt and should not be trusted.
And since we're talking about playing clips, this is one of the clips that I thought that got Don Lemon canned. So let's play that too.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. It's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
You need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their.
Okay.
childbearing.
And somehow that slippery slope from our president, who can barely get a sentence out straight and makes a mistake every single day, and he clearly doesn't feel like he's even in the room when he's talking about things that matter to all of us. We're now devolve into this conversation about when you can make decisions and what's in your prime. Like, come on.
Biden, you know, I'm glad I could keep you two around for the next couple of years. You know, other than that, man, I'm gonna need two new. Because
I'm over the hill. I'm over the hill.
Well, here's the deal, though. Like, this conversation just came up this weekend about the politicians all being over like 65 years old.
Yeah.
And okay, that's a problem. Because
Agreed.
If they're all senile or have medical issues, like. Love old people.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be running our country if you can't figure out which foot is left from right.
But we're creating a country where nobody in their right mind wants to go lead this train wreck.
Also that.
This generation, your generation, people are not stepping up to want to do this.
No,
I actually don't mind old as much as I mind
I love wisdom.
Someone entering their re-elections on a dementia drumstick, right? I mean, we live in California. Dianne Feinstein hasn't even shown up.
Yeah.
She hasn't shown up to vote for anything.
Right.
So I don't care if you're old, but if you're that old where you can't even show up to vote.
Well, again, another example.
They're trying to elect judges, which are confirmed by the Senate, right? She's not even there to vote.
But
and the medications, we're talking about medications, cheaper medications for Canada. She showed up not present for that. You know, she was one of the, you know, so
the rules don't apply.
But Ashley, who are they gonna miss? Who's gonna miss? Is Fox gonna miss Tucker Carlson more, or is CNN gonna miss Don Lemon more? By the looks of things, what would you say?
I think Tucker Carlson's going to be missed. I mean, like, what I've researched about Don Lemon in the last 24 hours, I don't understand why they fired him. I mean, he fits that CNN mold to a T. Yeah. All of the boxes are checked. But, like, what? My question is, why those two in the span of 5 days? Like, are those two finally stepping out and speaking their mind and being truthful and honest, and then the network can't handle it because it's against the advertisers' money?
Here's what's going on. Licht. I think his first name is Chris Licht. He's the new president of CNN. Promised more balance, promised change, right?
I can appreciate that.
And him coming in, they got rid of Cuomo. Oh, you helped your brother, you got to go. They got rid of some of these corporate shills that were whatever, and they're just gone one at a time. And Don Lemon was more difficult because he's black, he's gay, he's kind of a protected class.
Right.
But I can't, like, if you go behind the scenes, you can't actually find one person that likes working with that guy, that likes working for him.
Well, he sounds really terrible.
What you saw was he lost his anchor job. He had a night spot by himself, and now he is in a morning show getting interrupted by two girls that he probably doesn't want to spend a lot of time with, right? So for Lemon, I don't think he's gonna have the audience anymore.
Well, I'll flip the coin on that and say, like, at least, as I don't agree with anything he said in that clip, but he was willing to speak his mind, and he took
he thought he was untouchable.
Right. And I mean, here's the thing, like that
because
boldness.
He checks the boxes.
Yeah.
That boldness, like, he's pushing up against something, and people don't like it. So at least there's a pushback. But
I call him Teflon Don, okay?
Yeah.
You know, just like Donald Trump. He's Teflon Don because what he did a year ago. Do you remember the Jussie Smollett case? Where Jussie Smollett said he was assaulted by like a bunch of white people, called the N-word, and it turns out it never happened. He's a journalist. Don Lemon tipped this person off and told this person in 24 hours, investigators are going to be knocking at your door. You cannot do that. That is criminally negligent. And he did that and didn't get fired. And I'm like, Cuomo got fired for helping his brother, but he didn't get fired for that. Tucker, we all knew why he got fired. He's against the Ukraine war, you know, which is not popular. He's against Big Pharma, which is not popular. So we kind of all get that.
Why does it matter to us that those guys got fired from their news anchor jobs? I mean, we're not watching the news anyways, right? So who cares if they don't have their job anymore?
Because cable is still a powerful tool, and at the end of the day, the polls to get into debates and the polls for elections and all that stuff are rigorously reported through cable news. So even though they're getting murdered in the ratings, they still have this power. So there is a dynamic for certain age groups that wants to believe that they can still bring the news.
Well, exactly. And the train's left the station.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what my fear is, that the train has left the station, and there is so much money and influence behind these cable news channels.
Right.
And they do impact what your average voter thinks.
Right.
But the concept that I always want people to be better and do better I don't have faith at this point. And it does matter. The people that are reporting, whether it's commentary or hard news, the people that are doing that, we need to trust them, and we don't.
Right. I mean, look, back in the day, we used to have the news and maybe this little editorial clip in the back, and now the news is oversaturated with editorial, and I'm like, can someone just tell me what happened? what was the news?
What was the actual facts surrounding that situation, that event, whatever?
Where's the hard news? We don't know what to trust.
And on that, I'll tell you what's real. This is real. We are undivided.
Attaboy.